This demonstration we're going to look at implementing clustering in the Virtual Machine Manager 2008 R2. So we're going to add a host cluster to the Virtual Machine Manager Administrator console. We're going to configure a virtual machine to be highly available and then just test to make sure that live migration works within the Virtual Machine Manager. So what we're going to do here is we're currently in the host view. What we want to do is we want to add some hosts. So what we're going to do, click on Add Host. Then just on the select the host location and then the required credentials, we'll just log in. And what we want to add in here is we actually want to now add in our cluster. So add in our cluster, click our Add button. As we can see here, we've now got our cluster. So the next thing to do is just select our Next button. We're going to specify all hosts as the host group and select Next at this point. And then in the case of add the virtual machine path or use the defaults, what we'll do here is we'll just use default paths in the case of actually setting this up. So read the summary and then click Add Hosts. Now this will run through the wizard, so it's actually going to run the job. So what we'll do here is the reason why we've got these two errors is because these hosts are already added. We're now adding them as part of the cluster. So what we'll do is we'll just pause the video whilst it's refreshing the host cluster status and adding the host cluster into the Virtual Machine Manager. Right, we'll just close the jobs window. And if we just come to the all hosts at this point here, we can see the cluster now up and running. So we'll just highlight the cluster, expand this up. And what we need to do here is we just need to wait a little while, just while the virtual machines hosts catch up with everything. So we've got a tick box there just popped up next to NYC host 2. We need the little green tick box next to NYC host 1 as well. So I'll just pause the video at this point here, just while I'm waiting for everything to refresh. Right, all fully refreshed now, so we've got both hosts being managed through the cluster, so we can now create our highly available virtual machines. So what we're going to do here, come to our Virtual Machines tab. And then what we're going to do is create a new virtual machine. We're just going to actually use an existing virtual machine template, a hard disk, so we'll just click the Browse button. And what we want here is we just want our core test hard disk, so we'll select this and select OK. Next thing to do, just select our Next button. And what we want to call this virtual machine, we'll just call it VMM.avi. Won't bother with the description. Select our Next button. In the case of the hardware, what we need to do is we need to tell it that it's going to be a highly available virtual machine. So we'll scroll this down, click on the availability, we'll make the virtual machine highly available. Select our Next button. And then what we'll do here is we'll just place the virtual machine on a host. So we'll select Next, and what we're going to do here is we're actually going to store it on NYC host 1. Select our Next button. Specify the virtual machine path. So in the case of the virtual machine path, what we're going to do here is we're actually going to put it onto our cluster shared volume. Select our Browse, into our cluster shared volume, select our cluster disk 2, and then just click OK. Select Next. Select our external network and select Next. We won't bother with any of these options here. So the next thing to do, just click our Next button. And what we'll do is we'll just select Start the virtual machine after deploying it on the host and click Create. Now what we'll do here is we'll just wait for the wizard to complete, so we'll pause the video at this point here and return back once the virtual machine has been created. Right, the virtual machine is now deployed, so the next thing we need to do here is just right click and migrate. What we're going to do here, it's currently sitting on host 1, so we're going to migrate to host 2. Click Next. Click Move. So we can now see that the virtual machine is moving from host 1 to host 2. Once that's complete, we've actually done a migration through the Virtual Machine Manager. So we'll just pause the video at this point just while the migration completes. So you've got virtual machine is now moved across. So if we have a look now, you can see the virtual machine is still running. Location's the same, still sitting on the shared area network. Move is now complete. We can see we've moved from NYC host 1 to NYC host 2 by using the cluster that we configured in an earlier demonstration. That's the end of this demonstration. Thanks very much.